Let us pray. Lord, have mercy upon us. Lord, have mercy upon us. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. Almighty God, who in thy wisdom and goodness hast appointed the office of rulers and parliaments for the welfare of society and the just government of men and women, we beseech thee to behold with thy abundant favor us thy servants, whom thou hast been pleased to call to the performance of important trusts in these islands. That thy blessing descend upon us here assembled, and grant that we may treat and consider all matters that shall come under our deliberation in so just and faithful a manner as to promote thy honor and glory, and to advance the peace, prosperity, and welfare of these islands and those whose interests thou hast committed to our charge. And this we beg for Jesus Christ's sake. Amen. May the grace of our Lord Jesus Christ and the love of God and the fellowship of the Holy Spirit be with us all evermore. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Members, the House is now in session. Members, the minutes of the 6th of March have been deferred. Messages from the governor. There are none. Announcements by the speaker. We've been informed by the honorable that the member Christopher Famous will be absent today. The papers from the Senate. There are none. Messages from the Senate, rather. Papers and other communications to the House. There's one this morning in the name of the Minister of Labor and Economy and Labor. Minister?
Good morning, Mr. Speaker.
Morning.
Mr. Speaker, I have the honor to attach and submit for the information of the Honorable House of Assembly the Economic Development Strategy 2023-2027 Strategic Priority 1, Local and International Business Retention and Expansion 2023 to 2027 update.
Thank you. Petitions? There are none. Statements by minister and junior ministers. There are 3 statements this morning. The first is in the name of the Minister of National Security. Minister?
Morning, Mr. Speaker,
Morning.
colleagues, and the listening public. Mr. Speaker, I rise today to provide this honorable House with an update on the recruitment efforts currently underway across the uniformed services and departments that fall under the remit of the Ministry of National Security. Ensuring that our services remain properly staffed, professionally trained, and operationally ready is essential to maintaining public safety and national security. The ministry therefore continues to work closely with each department to support recruitment initiatives, address existing vacancies, and ensure that Bermuda's essential services remain capable of responding to the needs of our community. Mr. Speaker, across the ministry, recruitment actively remains active and ongoing. Recruitment activity remains active and ongoing. While we continue to see strong interest from members of the public who wish to serve, the reality of uniform and operational roles is that candidates must meet rigorous standards. Physical fitness, medical suitability, psychological assessments, background vetting, and professional competency are all critical components of the selection process. As a result, while application numbers are often high, the number of candidates who ultimately meet the full suitability requirements is more limited. Mr. Speaker, at the same time, the ministry must continue to manage natural workforce turnover, including mandatory retirements within several services. This makes it necessary to maintain a steady recruitment effort to ensure operational continuity and maintain the capabilities required to serve the public. Within the Bermuda Fire and Rescue Service, there are currently 11 uniform officer vacancies, comprising 9 firefighter posts and 2 lieutenant positions. The service recently completed a recruitment process in which 16 applicants were interviewed. From this pool, 9 recruits were successfully selected and will commence training on the 1st of April 2026. This intake will increase frontline firefighting capacity while the service prepares for a further recruitment exercise later this year to address anticipated retirements and maintain appropriate staffing levels. Mr. Speaker, the Bermuda Police Service continues to progress with 2 active recruit foundation courses as part of its ongoing recruitment program. Recruit Foundation Course 86 currently is in the final medical assessment stage, with reports expected by the end of March 2026. Once these clearances are completed, the cohort is expected to commence training in May 2026. Recruit Foundation Course 87 currently has 27 active applicants who are progressing through the recruitment process, with vetting, medical assessments, and interviews still to be completed. At present, the Bermuda Police Service has approximately 47 vacancies. While the service aims to onboard as many suitable candidates as possible through the current recruitment cycles, final intake numbers will depend on the successful completion of all suitability requirements. The BPS intends to commence its next local recruitment cycle for Recruit Foundation Course 88 in April 2026. The Bermuda Police Service is also developing a pool of suitably qualified overseas applicants who may be called upon where necessary to supplement local recruitment. Maintaining such a pipeline allows the service to respond more efficiently to operational staffing requirements while continuing to prioritize the recruitment and development of Bermudians. Mr. Speaker, the Royal Bermuda Regiment also continues to maintain an active recruitment pipeline. The regiment recently completed a recruitment run that resulted in 22 successful candidates commencing recruit camp in February of this year. In addition, there are currently 25 potential recruits within the active recruitment pool. The next intake is scheduled for the 5th of July, 2026. The regiment currently has 44 unfilled part-time positions as well as 2 full-time staff posts. Recruitment efforts therefore remain ongoing to ensure that the regiment maintains the numbers required to fulfill its important national roles, including domestic operations and support to civil authorities. Mr. Speaker, within the Department of National Drug Control, there are currently 11 vacant posts across a range of clinical and treatment support roles. The department has already received approval for the recruitment of an overseas addiction counselor who is presently awaiting onboarding. Mr. Speaker, several additional positions, including addiction counselors, treatment coordinator, and clinical coordinator roles, have been advertised and are progressing through the interview process during March of this year. Temporary relief arrangements are currently in place to ensure continuity of service while permanent appointments are finalized. In addition, 3 addiction treatment support workers are scheduled to commence employment on the 1st of April 2026. These appointments will increase the department's capacity to deliver treatment and recovery services. The department also continues to benefit from the support of a senior clinical contractor who is assisting with clinical supervision, program development, and preparations for CARF accreditation. Mr. Speaker, the Customs Department also continues to advance its recruitment efforts to support Bermuda's border security operations. The department currently reports 52 uniformed officer vacancies, of which 14 posts are funded. Customs is presently conducting a recruitment exercise to hire 20 new officers from a pool of 238 applicants. Fitness testing has recently been conducted, with additional stages including drug testing, medical examinations, and interviews scheduled to take place during the coming weeks. Subject to successful completion of these stages, the department anticipates that the next group of recruits will commence training on the 1st of June, 2026. The department most recently passed out 13 new officers and plans to conduct another recruitment campaign in August of 2026 to continue increasing operational staffing. Mr. Speaker, taken together, these recruitment activities demonstrate that sustained work is underway across the ministry to maintain the staffing and operational readiness of Bermuda security and public safety services. While recruitment within these fields is demanding and highly selective, the continued interest shown by members of the public reflects a strong sense of service that exists within our community. Mr. Speaker, it is important to recognize that maintaining capable operational services is not achieved through a single recruitment exercise. It requires continuous workforce planning, ongoing recruitment pipelines, and a commitment to training and professional development. As retirements occur and operational plans evolve, the ministry must remain proactive in ensuring that the next generation of officers, firefighters, and public safety professionals are prepared to step forward and serve. The Ministry of National Security will therefore continue working closely with its departments to support recruitment, develop training pathways, and ensure that each service has the personnel it requires to carry out its mandate effectively. Our objective remains clear: to maintain capable services that can protect our borders, support our communities, and respond effectively in times of emergency. Mr. Speaker, I wish to take this opportunity to acknowledge the men and women who serve within these departments. Their work often takes place out of the public eye, yet it is essential to the safety and stability of our island. The government remains committed to supporting them by ensuring that their services are properly staffed and equipped to carry out their responsibilities. Recruitment efforts will continue throughout the coming months, and the ministry will remain focused on ensuring that Bermuda's public safety services are prepared to meet the needs of our community. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Minister. Members, the next statement this morning is in the name of the Minister of Economy and Labor. Minister?
Good morning, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I lay before this Honorable House a progress report on the Economic Development Strategy 2023 to 2027. The Economic Development Strategy is Bermuda's roadmap for strengthening and diversifying the economy, creating opportunity for Bermudians, and building a more secure and inclusive future. Economic development shapes the cost of living and the services Bermudians rely on. This report sets out what has been delivered, what is underway, and what comes next. Mr. Speaker, I will begin with Strategic Priority 1, Local and International Business Retention and Expansion, which focuses on retaining and expanding existing businesses by removing barriers to investment and jobs, and keeping Bermuda efficient, trusted, and competitive as global conditions evolve. The key highlights include expanded progress on residential and urban developments within Bermuda's economic empowerment zones, where the Urban Development Authority has identified 31 priority sites and developed conceptual designs that could deliver nearly 350 new residential units. The Bermuda Business Development Agency strengthening Bermuda's global competitiveness through enhanced industry engagement, targeted market research, and international outreach, promoting the island's trust, fintech, and asset management sectors. And completing these efforts, the Bermuda Tourism Authority has expanded immersed cultural, culinary, and heritage offerings, such as guided tours, art month, restaurant week, and live entertainment, contributing to higher cultural experience satisfaction and increased off-season visitation. Mr. Speaker, to start, the Bermuda Business Development Agency has now transitioned to an investment promotion agency and is working with industry leaders to understand what would make Bermuda more competitive. It is structured its work streams to focus on three main pillars: established, being financial services, risk and insurance, proactive, high net worth services, legal and RegTech and InsurTech, and edge explorational, the blue economy. The pillars are undergoing the next stage of intensive analysis to ensure the correct priorities, sectors, and markets are set. The Bermuda Business Development Agency also has been working to strengthen Bermuda's presence right where investment decisions are made, building relationships with those who shape fund structures and alternative investments, and ensuring that Bermuda's advantages are consistently presented. The goal is straightforward to increase high quality business activity and investment flows by showing up constantly with clarity and with the right partners at the table. Mr. Speaker, alongside market facing work, competitiveness also depends on Bermuda's capacity to house the people of Bermuda within our economy. That is why significant work has been led by the Bermuda Economic Development Corporation and the Urban Development Authority to drive residential development and regeneration through approved residential schemes in the economic empowerment zones. This work has moved well beyond policy into active delivery, including island wide mapping of development opportunities, updated needs and demand analysis, and early design concepts to shorten the path from interest to construction. Mr. Speaker, to unlock development at pace, and because revitalizing Hamilton and increasing the supply of housing in and around the city supports business activity and reduces pressure on the rental market, the approved residential schemes program now includes the city of Hamilton. The approved Hamilton residential scheme. One approved Hamilton residential scheme application has been approved, and more are in the process. In addition, the BEDC has introduced the approved residential scheme Kickstart program, a guarantee back program that aims to reduce financial risk and support lending for major residential and mixed-use projects in all four of the island's EEZs. It is worth noting that many units across the island remain empty simply because the renovation costs place refurbishment out of reach for many homeowners. The private sector refurbishment program is bringing empty units back into use by offering up to $125,000 in interest free support for reimbursement repaid from rental income. To date, 48 landlords have registered interest and 32 properties have been assessed. Mr. Speaker, Strategic Priority 1 also includes support for local business growth and entrepreneurship, and the BEDC is delivering a range of support products for that purpose. More broadly, the BEDC is targeting the barriers that often block small business success, including cost, finance, skills, and access to market. This is delivered through concessions, financing support, incubators, and education programs, infrastructure support, and networking. Promoting Bermuda's development opportunities is also key to progressing economic development. In 2025, the BEDC and the Urban Development Authority hosted the first Bermuda Infrastructure and Development Summit during International Economic Development Week, convening local and international stakeholders to identify opportunities, gaps, and solutions. To support cost reduction and build capacity in the sector, the UDA also convened the 2025 Build Mixer, bringing international expertise on alternative building methods together with local stakeholders and site visits. Mr. Speaker, competitiveness also depends on a strong visitor economy and reliability of public services. And work is strengthening access and improving visitor experiences year-round. Airlift has strengthened over the past 2 years, causing total airline seats to go up by 51% and more than doubling in origin markets. In 2025, the Ministry of Tourism and Transport, Culture and Sports formally tasked the Bermuda Tourism Authority to lead the Air Service Development Committee to coordinate and execute Bermuda's airlift strategy. As such, the BTA continues to work closely with key stakeholders to ensure that airlift expansion aligns with visitor demands and supports long-term sustainability of routes. Looking ahead, the BTA is undertaking a detailed assessment of the incremental airlift requirements to support the reopening of Fairmont Southampton. The BTA is also shifting the visitor offer towards guided experiences led by local interpreters, supported by year-round arts, culture, sports, and heritage programming. Visitor satisfaction in 2025 increased by 15%. To strengthen service standards and support the hospitality workforce, the BTA launched Anchor Bermuda, which more than 250 people have completed. Anchor BDA is part of BTA Plus, an online learning platform that has so far offered 400 courses to over 895 users. Mr. Speaker, in agriculture, practical steps have been taken to support local production and resilience with technical assistance, better infrastructure, and targeted policy improvements. The integrated agriculture strategy is advancing food and nutritional resilience by modernizing infrastructure and strengthening services to farmers. Key deliverables include the completion of an arable land audit, upgraded post-harvest storage capacity, and modernized inspection and surveillance capability. Furthermore, work is ongoing that ensures that Agriculture Service Center remains fully operational and ready to support farmers. Mr. Speaker, regarding the blue economy, employment planning work has progressed. The draft marine spatial plan is complete and the draft blue economy strategy has been prepared. Next steps depends on drafting and enacting the Marine Development Act, which will provide the framework to take both documents forward. Indeed, honorable members will recall that the Marine Resource Enforcement Strategy was laid in the House last Friday to address protection and existing protected areas. Mr. Speaker, the House will also be aware of my recent announcements of Bermuda's fintech strategy, which sets out a clear plan to grow the sector responsibly and ensure that Bermudans benefit from the opportunities that it creates. Bermuda's fintech strategy is focused on adoption, trust, and Bermudian opportunity. Over the review period, licensing activity under the Digital Asset Business Act has increased significantly, alongside continual growth in innovative insurer licenses, reflecting sustained international interest in Bermuda's regulated offerings. Notably, companies holding the most mature form of double authorization, the Class F full license, increased from 8 in 2022 to 18 in 2024. At the first quarter of 2021, the Bermuda Monetary Authority had issued a total of 39 digital asset licenses and 14 insurtech licenses across all class types. Maintaining an efficient, business-friendly operating environment remains essential. As recently as 2 weeks ago, the BDA launched the Bermuda Leadership Exchange Stakeholder Series to align joint activities and communications and to use stakeholder insight to strengthen competitiveness and the ease of doing business. Mr. Speaker, this concludes my update on Strategic Priority 1, Local and International Business Retention and Expansion. My next update to this honorable House will cover the next two strategic priorities: business attraction and investment promotion, and entrepreneurship and small business development. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Minister. Excuse me. Members, the next statement this morning is in the name of the Minister of Home Affairs. Minister?
Good morning, Mr. Speaker.
Good morning.
Thank you very much. Good morning to this honorable House and the listening audience. Mr. Speaker, I rise this morning to signal to this honorable House that today the Ministry of Home Affairs will release its green paper on Bermuda's application for full membership in the Caribbean community. Mr. Speaker, this represents an invitation to the people of Bermuda to examine the evidence, weigh the arguments, and share their thoughts with this government. Mr. Speaker, the Green Paper examines how Bermuda can move from the margins of regional decision-making to its center. It sets out the strategic framework, the historical context, the constitutional constraints, the costs, and the benefits of full membership. It presents the implications plainly, and it invites the scrutiny of every Bermudian. Today, the public is invited to tune in to government social media channels as we launch the public consultation. Mr. Speaker, the government has been transparent about its intentions. The Honorable Premier has tasked the Ministry of Home Affairs with leading this work, and the ministry has adopted a two-phased approach. In the first phase, Mr. Speaker, we consulted directly with stakeholders across a broad cross-section of Bermuda's civic, sporting, cultural, labor, and business institutions. We met with the Bermuda Economic Development Corporation, the West Indies Association of Bermuda, the Bermuda Public Service Union, the Bermuda Cricket Board, the Bermuda Olympic Association, the Bermuda Credit Union, Citizens Uprooting Racism in Bermuda, the Ministry of National Security, the One Bermuda Alliance, and more. Their input collectively shaped this document. Mr. Speaker, we also added a question in the fourth quarter of the Omnibus survey to gather baseline sentiment and capture the views of a representative sample of Bermudians. The areas that made full CARICOM membership a viable direction for the government to take were identified as food security, climate resilience, energy resilience, healthcare and public safety, and education and training opportunities. These are the daily concerns of Bermudian families. They are the same issues that occupy the center of CARICOM's regional agenda, and they are the same issues that were discussed at the 50th CARICOM Heads of Government Conference in Basseterre, St. Kitts, and Nevis just 2 weeks ago. Bermuda was not in the room when those discussions took place, and now the second phase of this consultation does begin, because the Green Paper invites the public to read, to question, and to respond. Over the coming months, the ministry will engage directly with stakeholders across the community to share information and, more importantly, to listen. The Green Paper invites the public to consider and respond on matters ranging from whether Bermuda should seek a greater role in CARICOM's engagement with international partners to what concerns Bermudians may have about deeper integration. The government will accept written submissions through the Ministry of Home Affairs, and details of the submission process, public meetings, and the timeline for the government's response will be published separately. The public is invited for a launch which will begin today at 1 p.m. Mr. Speaker, some will ask, why now? The answer is that the world has changed around us, and the terms of our participation have not kept pace. Almost 23 years ago, former Premier Dame Jennifer Smith brought a historic motion to the House of Assembly that set Bermuda on a path to CARICOM associate membership. Bermuda became an associate member in 2003 following the Conference of Heads of Government decision at its 13th intersessional meeting in the Belize City in February of 2002. The agreement between the Caribbean community and the government of Bermuda established tiers of participation: observer status at meetings of the Conference of Heads, the Community Council of Ministers, participation without a vote in deliberation of most bodies, and explicit exclusion from the Council for Foreign and Community Relations, known as COFCOR, and from all discussions relating on foreign policy in any organ of the community. Mr. Speaker, that decision was right for its time. Associate membership gave us a framework for regional cooperation, and we have used it. Our uniformed services train alongside their Caribbean counterparts. Caribbean utility crews helped restore Bermuda's power after Hurricane Fabian. The Bermuda Regiment deployed to support Caribbean support recovery after Hurricane Ivan, Irma, and Maria. We competed in the Carifta Games, and we sent 18 artists, musicians, and gumbe dancers to Carifesta in Barbados in 2025. But associate membership has reached its structural limits. We are in the room, but not at the table. We participate, but we do not decide. And as the challenges face small island economies intensify, the gap between attendance and partnership grows wider. Mr. Speaker, 90% of what Bermudians eat comes from overseas. 98% of our electricity is generated from imported fuel. When global shipping is disrupted or fuel prices rise, the cost of groceries, electricity, and transportation rises with it. These are the same pressures that are felt across the Caribbean. CARICOM members are confronting them collectively. However, Bermuda is on the sidelines of those conversations. The Green Paper asks us to consider if we want to remain outside of those conversations. Mr. Speaker, before I speak to the contents of the Green Paper, I must speak to the story that it tells, because the question of CARICOM is not only a question of policy, it's a question of identity. Our history has never been in solitary. For more than 3 centuries, Bermudian vessels sailed the Caribbean Sea. From the 1660s, our seafarers worked the salt pans of the Turks Islands. Our shipwrights, many of them enslaved, built some of the fastest sloops in the Atlantic. Our families put down roots from Grand Turk to Kingston and are found on both sides of that historic connection to this day. The connection to St. Kitts and Nevis runs particularly deep. More than half of Bermuda's population traces ancestral roots to those islands. The Honorary Council for St. Kitts and Nevis has documented that hundreds came to Bermuda for work after the decline of the slavery-based sugar industry, with immigration increasing from 1875 as workers built Watford Bridge and later the Royal Navy Dockyard. Mr. Speaker, our most celebrated cultural tradition carries this connection in its bones. The gumbe is Bermuda's distinct art form recognized by UNESCO in 1970, but it did not emerge in isolation. The gumbe tradition shares direct lineage to masquerade dance troupes from St. Kitts and Nevis, the same headdress, the same masks, the same capes decorated with mirrors, ribbons, and bells, the same drums. Modern-day gumbe costumes originated with the influx of Caribbean workers, mainly from St. Kitts, Nevis, and Antigua in the 1920s and 1930s. When a gumbe troupe dances through the streets of Hamilton, it carries 3 centuries of Caribbean connection with every step. When the British Parliament passed the Slavery Abolition Act in 1833, the Bermuda and Antigua became the first colonies to implement full emancipation. Over 1,900 enslaved persons were freed on the Turks Island alone. 6 months later, the American slave ship Enterprise was blown into Hamilton Harbor, carrying 85 enslaved men, women, and children. A formerly enslaved Bermudian by the name of Richard Tucker served as captain with a writ of habeas corpus. The Supreme Court convened at 9 p.m. and asked each person individually whether they wished to return to the United States or remain in Bermuda as free people. 72 chose that freedom. The act of liberation did not happen in isolation. It was part of a chain that stretched through the Bahamas, through the wider Caribbean, and into the conscience of the abolition movement. Bermuda's story is a Caribbean story, and it always has been. And yet, Mr. Speaker, during our consultations, we heard something that must be placed on parliamentary record. We heard from Bermudians whose parents deliberately concealed their Caribbean heritage from their own children. They did this not out of shame, but out of fear. Fear that acknowledging where they came from would make their children targets. Fear rooted in a colonial narrative that told us we are not like them. And so the question becomes, who benefits from that narrative? Not our families, not our children, and not Bermuda. Division has kept us small. Connection makes us strong. Mr. Speaker, I would turn to what this green paper sets before the people of Bermuda. The paper is organized into 5 chapters, and it begins with an explanation of what CARICOM is, how it functions, and what full membership entails. It addresses Bermuda's constitutional status as a British overseas territory and the constraints that status places on our participation. It sets out the history of Bermuda's relationship with CARICOM across nearly 30 years of engagement. It examines the tangible benefits of full membership in the areas that matter most to most Bermudians: cost of living, trade and economic opportunities, climate resilience, healthcare and education, and cultural connection. It presents the results of the stakeholder consultation and the Omnibus Survey. The paper is direct about cost, Bermuda's current annual contribution as an associate member. The indicative contribution as a full member would be approximately 0.16% of Bermuda's 2025-2026 annual expenditure. The government's position is that Bermuda's financial contribution should reflect the terms of the membership that we are able to accept, and the final figure will be determined through further negotiation. Mr. Speaker, the paper is also direct about the protections. Bermuda retaining full authority over its immigration framework and labor market. The existing work permit system remains in place. The Bermuda government's approach to the single market and economy is measured and phased. Bermuda's regulatory authority over financial services will not be compromised. These are the commitments that are stated plainly in the Green Paper for every Bermudian to read. Mr. Speaker, the Green Paper sets out what Bermuda brings to the table. Enhanced participation is not a one-way request. Bermuda is the world's risk capital, home to sophisticated insurance and reinsurance markets of direct benefit to Caribbean nations facing increased climate-related losses. Bermuda pioneered the regulatory framework for digital assets through Digital Assets Business Act 2018 and is now developing AI governance frameworks. Mr. Speaker, Bermuda's participation strengthens CARICOM's collective negotiating weight and extends its greater geographic footprint into the Mid-Atlantic. This is a partnership of mutual benefit. Mr. Speaker, I would just briefly share with this honorable House what I witnessed at the 50th regular meeting of the Conference of Heads. that took place between February 24th to February 27th. The conference was themed Beyond Words, Actions Today for a Thriving, Sustainable CARICOM. For the first time in over a decade, every head of government was present. The Premier and I were in attendance, and we participated in the opening ceremony and in bilateral engagements with overseas territory leaders. The benefits of attendance were significant, and we strengthened bilateral relationships. We engaged directly with regional leaders, and we advanced Bermuda's profile within the community. These are the relationships that open doors for Bermudian businesses, students, and institutions. Mr. Speaker, our presence demonstrated the seriousness with which the government approaches regional engagement and the evolution of our membership journey. However, on February 25th, the U.S. Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, attended the conference. It was the first visit by a U.S. Secretary of State to CARICOM heads meeting in approximately a decade. Secretary Rubio engaged CARICOM leaders on matters of direct consequence to Bermuda: regional security cooperation, energy partnerships, economic growth, trade and investment, combating illicit trafficking, and the future of U.S.-Caribbean relations in a period of significant geopolitical realignment. All overseas territories were informed that the substantive engagement between Secretary Rubio and CARICOM leaders would not be open to their attendance or participation. Mr. Speaker, Bermuda was in the building, but not in the room. The resulting joint statements committed parties to comprehensive U.S. CARICOM cooperation framework on investment, trade, and disaster recovery. These are issues that affect Bermudian lives directly. Bermuda had no voice in shaping that framework. The U.S. CARICOM engagement alone makes a case for why associate membership is no longer sufficient, but it is not the only example. Bermuda is also excluded from CARICOM's collective efforts to build and strengthen economic relationships with Africa, Saudi Arabia, India, the UAE, Colombia, Brazil. The comprehensive economic partnership is negotiated, and Bermuda is not eligible within any of these. Mr. Speaker, this House should understand that the constitutional framework clearly. Bermuda's status as an overseas territory means that the UK retains responsibility for external defense and security. The governor holds reserve powers under Section 61 of the Bermuda Constitutional Order 1968. The UK has progressively expanded Bermuda's authority to engage regionally, and the 2016 letter of entrustment requested by the OBA administration granted general authority to conclude agreements with CARICOM regional organizations. Mr. Speaker, I draw this House to the attention of an important fact, that the 2016 entrustment was sought and secured by the One Bermuda Alliance government. The 2024 entrustment was secured by this government. The pursuit of stronger CARICOM ties is not a partisan initiative. It has bipartisan precedent. Both governments have recognized the value of this engagement, and it is a commitment that reflects the settlement judgment of successive Bermudian governments. We recognize the 2024 letter comes with conditions, and Bermuda's representative must abstain on issues bearing directly on external relations, defense, or security. Any proposed membership text must be submitted to the FCDO for review, and a further letter of entrustment may be required before Bermuda can formally accede. In January 2026, the UK provided additional guidance in terms of our treaty, as well as the provisions included. These constraints are real, and the Green Paper addresses them in detail. They do not prevent Bermuda from deepening our relationship. The vast majority of CARICOM's practical work in health, education, trade, food security, climate resilience, digital infrastructure, and cultural cooperation falls within Bermuda's delegated authority. Our Caribbean neighbors are themselves American trading partners, security alliances, and neighbors. Deepening our partnership with them does not diminish our relationship with Washington and London. Mr. Speaker, we have heard the concerns and take them very seriously. We also take seriously the responsibility to distinguish concern from fear and fear from fiction. Some Bermudians say that they will lose their jobs, but the Green Paper is clear. Bermuda will retain its full control over immigration and work permits. Full membership does not grant CARICOM nationals the right to live or work here. The work permit system stays in place. Some say international companies will leave. The Green Paper is clear that Bermuda's economic substance requirements, its world-class regulatory environment, and its concentration of global expertise in reinsurance, fintech, and professional services are the reason companies operate here. Membership in CARICOM does not change any of that. Mr. Speaker, fear-mongering has run its course, and the Green Paper replaces speculation with evidence. It places anxiety with information. It puts every claim to the test of fact. And I say to every Bermudian to read the paper, examine it, and challenge it. Bring your hopes and your skepticisms. This is exactly what the process is designed for. Mr. Speaker, this consultation places the people of Bermuda in the driver's seat because too often in our history, decisions about our place in the world have been made for us. Too often the question of who we are and where we belong have been answered by others. This process is different, and this Green Paper gives Bermudians the facts, the analysis, and the framework. The next steps belong to them. Mr. Speaker, this country has always known who it is, a Caribbean island, a mid-Atlantic bridge, a financial center of global standing, a community built by generations who sailed between these worlds and made them one. The structures that kept us on the margins of our own regional decision no longer reflect who we are or what we're capable of, and Bermuda does not need permission to believe in its own value. It just needs the standing to act on it. The question that the Green Paper puts to the people of Bermuda is whether we will seize this opportunity, whether we will participate in trade relationships, climate partnerships, and regional conversations that our Caribbean neighbors are leading, whether we will claim the seat that is waiting for us. At its heart, this is a story of us. The answer should be guided by self-belief, self-assurance, and by honest understanding of who we are and where we stand in this region. Every Bermudian has a place in this story, and they're invited to find their place in it. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Minister. Members, that brings us to a close of the statement period this morning. We'll now move on. The next item on the order paper, reports of committees, and there are none. After reports of committees, we now go to the question period. And members, there are questions this morning from the statements. There are no written questions, so we'll begin with the statements from the questions from the statements that were given this morning. And the first statement this morning from the Minister of National Security. Minister, you have members who wish to ask questions of you. And the first is MP Tucker. MP Tucker, would you like to put your question?
Good morning, Mr. Speaker.
Morning.
Thank you. So my first question is, I'd like to know if each of the uniformed services departments have proactive staffing plans for each area. It just seems as though they, have large numbers of vacancies, and then we're
Your
looking for
question is
people. Do they have proactive
for the individual
staffing
departments.
plans for each individual department?
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Minister?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank you for the question. The answer is actually yes. Each department, the mandate is to remain fully operational, and services to the public have not been affected. It's been a lot of actual work and maneuvering on the part of the department heads, but the answer to her question is yes.
Supplementary or new question?
Yes, Mr. Speaker.
Supplementary.
Yes, supplementary. I appreciate that there's no impact to the public, but if the minister can talk a bit about the impact of these vacancies it's having on the staff, I'd appreciate it. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Your question is?
The minister mentioned that having the vacancies has not impacted the public. So now I'm just asking, what impact is the other vacancies having on the staff that have to cover those vacancies? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Minister?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Obviously, until we are able to get all the numbers that are required throughout the departments, there is a lot of overtime and potential, understanding for staff burnout. So as a result, we have a diligent recruitment process to try to bring our numbers up to par.
Supplementary or new question?
New question, Mr. Speaker. is there, the minister mentioned, for example, the regiment, and they have the next intake in July. So I just wanted to know if there is rolling intake for any of the departments, or are there specific intake periods throughout the year per department? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Minister?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. No, they are not rolling intakes. There are specific times when each department sets out a recruit plan, and then they advertise for bodies.
Supplementary or new question?
Yes, please, Mr. Speaker,
Supplementary.
supplementary. So my supplementary question is, given the large number of vacancies and the ongoing large portion of vacancies, whether the ministry would consider actually implementing rolling intake?
Minister?
The answer really is no to that because it's not financially feasible.
Supplementary or new question?
Supplementary, Mr. Speaker. Can the minister tell us what positions are vacant in those areas?
Minister?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The positions are for new recruits. We have a natural attrition of people retiring after putting in services. Then you have others that are being promoted on the job, so they move up. So it leaves a lot of room and positions for new recruits at the intake level, the operational level.
Supplementary or I'll ask you second third question?
I'll move to the third question because I do have a supplementary, but I'll speak to the minister separately about that.
All right.
So my third question is, given the difficulties of trying to attract quality candidates, has the ministry been looking at the internal mechanisms of each department that make it difficult to attract such candidates? So for instance, has the minister looked at management? Has the minister looked at the infrastructure, internal operational matters, those types of things to help improve so that more quality candidates may come forward? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Minister?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'd like to clarify that the attractiveness is not what the issue is. It's trying to hire qualified persons, and we are definitely in the process now of going through a complete look at the recruitment process. But certainly the attraction is there, but there is a rigorous process because it's important that those that qualify for any uniform services are ably fit to carry out the duty.
Okay. Supplementary?
Mr. Speaker, yes, thank you. A supplementary. Can the minister sort of clarify, because he said it's an entry-level position, and then he also mentioned that, attracting qualified candidates. So if he can sort of clarify whether these are entry-level positions, or is he looking for qualified candidates? Just trying to get some clarity around what that actually looks like, because I would also like to know how are they assessing whether the environment is such whereby the candidates are whether the issue. Can I start again?
Okay. So what you're asking for is it more important for the qualified, or is it more important just to take people in? That's what you're asking, basically. Is you looking for intake, or you're looking for qualified?
Yes.
And the
Mr.
qualified for
Speaker.
you means?
Yes. So specific qualifications that they are looking for. Are they looking for people that have specific qualifications to fill these roles,
Okay.
or are they looking for entry-level candidates who may not have specific qualifications?
Okay. Minister?
Mr. Speaker, I'd like to start off by saying I invite the member to at least read my statement, because the statement sets out clearly that when we advertise for jobs, not just in uniform service, but any job, you're looking for quality personnel. I'm sure ICS looks for quality personnel. I mean, what is it that I'm asked to explain? What is that I'm asked to explain?
I'm going to try and help this thing here before. Any application that goes out, you got a whole list of applicants. Some applicants just don't meet the standard that you're looking for. So when you're saying qualify, you're basically looking for somebody who meets the standards. Am I correct? Okay. Is that help? Okay.
Helps.
Thank you. All right.
Do I have a second supplementary?
You have a
Mr.
second
Speaker?
sub, yes.
Okay, thank you. So my second supplementary is, what is the stumbling block then to finding these suitable candidates? Can the minister explain to us, break it down for us so we understand what the difficulty is?
Minister?
Mr. Speaker, I don't know how to answer that. It's the same challenges that every other business has when they're trying to get suitable people for their departments or their business. There's a rigorous standard, and I outlined it not only in this ministerial statement but in previous ministerial statements, that there's medical, there's psychological, there's drug testing, there's academic component, there's a fitness component. You know what I mean? Like you just don't walk in a door, especially of a service as that the uniform service provide, and just say, "Here I am, I applied, let me in."
That was your second sub. Okay, thank you. Thank you, members. MP, there's Minister rather, there's further questions for you. MP King would like to put questions to you. MP King?
We play nice this morning. Morning, Mr. Speaker, members of this honorable House and the listening public. Regarding the recruitment of officers, what is the expectation in terms of manning or staffing the road traffic division and gang resistance specialized task force with the increased numbers that you have? The reason why I asked the question is we accept that the number of traffic accidents on the road and the numbers of serious injuries are too many. And we also accept that the incidence of gun violence and knife violence and the injuries and deaths caused is too many. And obviously staffing issues play a role in that. So I'm asking, how will the officers be allocated to those particular areas of need? Thank you.
Minister?
Mr. Speaker, I would like to start off by saying that I don't equate our staffing levels with the road deaths and the murders, right? We are in the process of hiring new police officers, and as they get through the process and become qualified, but they will be placed where the commissioner of police deems that they need to be put.
Supplementary or new question?
Supplemental.
Okay.
Understanding that we recognize that driving behaviors on the island's roads are causing unnecessary accidents, and it can be argued that it's due in part to a lack of police presence. Is there a consideration to making sure that the road traffic division has a regular presence on the road with these new recruits?
Minister?
Mr. Speaker, I'm certain that the Commissioner of Police will place his officers where he feels that the need is necessary.
Second sub or new question?
New question, Mr. Speaker.
Yeah.
Understanding that 2 cohorts are going to be receiving training, how many vacancies are anticipated at the conclusion of the 2 cohorts? Because not all of them are going to graduate. So what's going to be the outstanding staffing number that's required?
Speculation at this point.
Yeah, Mr. Speaker, at the
I would deem that
Yeah.
it's more speculation at this point, because until we get the process done, you don't know how many spaces are going to be filled, whether they be able to get the full complement or not. So it's really just sort of speculation to ask that question right now.
For clarification, Mr. Speaker,
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
ordinarily they know that the failure rate's going to be about 15 or 20%. So I was asking it based on projections of that. Thanks.
Mr. Speaker, the recruitment process is ongoing. I mean, it's a 5-step process. You know, I've said it in this ministerial statement and previous ones. For me to be asked how many are going to fail, how many are going to pass, and then how much is going to be left, you know, I think that's a math question that I'm not able to figure out.
Is there another supplementary or third question?
And Mr. Speaker, this concerns customs.
Mhm.
Understanding that there are 52 uniform officer vacancies, but only 14 are funded, why do 38 positions remain unfunded?
Understand?
Thank you for that question, Mr. Speaker. As we get the required numbers to fill our posts, the funding is there, and we will fund the posts as is necessary.
Supplementary?
Yes, Mr. Speaker. Understanding that there are 52 vacancies in the Customs Department and Customs is responsible for protecting our borders, how is this impacted on service delivery and protecting our shores?
Understood?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My answer is very similar to the answer given to the previous MP. There's a lot of overtime that takes place. The operational effectiveness of the uniform services in general is still being met in keeping Bermuda safe on our borders and on land and sea.
Supplementary? No question? Okay. Minister, that's the end of the statements, questions for your statement. Minister of Economy and Labor, you have members who wish to ask questions. Yourself, MP King, would you like to put your question?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Would the honorable minister inform the House how many new international businesses established since the launch of the economic development strategy in 2023?
Understood?
Mr. Speaker, that's a matter of public record. The economic update and the quarterly bulletin of statistic tables that are presented to the public highlight local and new businesses, and they also highlight international businesses. And so I would say that there has been tremendous growth in our international business community since the launch of the economic development strategy. As it pertains to insurance and reinsurance companies, the BMA puts out those numbers on an annual basis as well. And so I don't have the exact numbers, but it is a fact that there has been significant growth of new businesses registering in Bermuda.
Supplementary or new question?
Supplementary.
Yes.
We welcome and we're thankful that international business is doing well in Bermuda. Question I have is, how many Bermudians are employed in international business in management or senior management positions as a result of this initiative?
The member included a phrase as a result of this initiative when he talked about the numbers. I'm not sure if there is a direct correlation. What we would say is we create a business environment which allows for businesses to grow and expand. The principal aim of this strategy was business retention and expansion. We have seen retention of our local businesses and we have seen expansion of our local businesses. When those businesses remain and when they expand, they add employment numbers. Those employment numbers, we now see that over 5,000 employees are within the international business sector. Over 50% of those individuals are Bermudians. Bermudians continue to progress, but not at the pace in which we would fully appreciate. The annual employment numbers do put out the figures as it pertains to Bermudians in the industrial section and the positions in which they possess.
Thank you. Supplementary or new question?
Supplementary.
Okay.
Would the minister be able to speak to how many Bermudians are in senior positions as of 2024 in international business? Because what we understand is that definitely international business hires, but the majority of the jobs in international businesses are work permit holders.
Would your statement have addressed that specific piece?
The statement doesn't address the specifics regarding Bermudians in management. However, the member is 100% incorrect when he says the majority of persons employed in international business are work permit holders.
New question? That was your second supplementary.
For clarification, in senior positions, that's my final question. Thank you.
Right. Good. That's your. So you're putting that as a second question?
I was just clarifying that I was speaking to Bermudians in senior positions in international business.
Do
Thank
you
you.
have a second question? Okay. All right. Minister MP Campbell would like to put questions to you as well. MP Campbell?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I thank the minister for his update. Minister, if my calculation is correct, we're in year 4 of a 5-year strategy. Can the minister provide the number of residential units that have been developed to date under this strategy?
Minister?
The statement makes it clear that we are making progress. There are 2 separate residential schemes. There's the approved Hamilton scheme and there's the approved residential scheme. The Uptown Development Authority has identified sites and they're doing a lot of the prep work. And so a lot of leg work has gone into identifying potential investment sites and working directly with investors. We haven't received the uptick as it pertains to investment into the development of sites, but there is interest and they continue to work with developers. As it pertains to the approved Hamilton residential scheme, we do have one approved Hamilton residential scheme, which is passed, but this is all process work. And I would like to inform members that that is a component of an overall strategy to increase housing in Bermuda. And so the strategy speaks to not just the work that has been done in the approved schemes, but also the development that takes place outside of the approved schemes. The overall aim is to ensure that we continue to support our retail sector with the expansion of houses. We certainly see the expansion of houses in Bermuda year over year. That is reported on in the quarterly bulletin of statistics as well, where we see the addition to the residential stock on an annual basis.
Supplementary or new question?
Supplementary. If I understood the minister correctly, there is one development that's in progress. Can the minister advise how many units will result from that development when it's completed?
Thank you. Minister?
I don't have those details at this moment, but I will endeavor to provide full transparency and clarity on those details to the honorable member.
Thank you. Supplementary, second sub or second question?
No, thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank you, Minister.
Okay, thank you. Minister, that's the end of questions for you on your statement. The last statement in the name of the Minister of Home Affairs, MP Fay would like to put questions to you.
Good morning, Mr. Speaker, and good morning, listening audience. My first question is, does the minister have any form of draft agreement from CARICOM, given the previous stated position that full consultation would likely commence once a draft agreement was in the hands of the government?
Minister?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My statement went into the framework that Bermuda is seeking to negotiate with the Secretariat as part of the Green Paper, as well as what was included in the statement this morning. Thank you.
Supplementary or?
Mr. Speaker, there wasn't an answer to that question. It's a very specific question. Does the government have any draft agreements? Because that was a previous stated position, and if it's not in the statement, one will have to assume, I suppose, that there is no draft agreement. That's a very simple question to answer. It's not really a supplementary. We didn't get an answer.
The member is restating the fact that there was a specific response that was sort of directed from that, and he was wondering if there was you could be more direct in the response.
Sure, Mr. Speaker. The current full members of CARICOM have agreed to the treaty provisions. So the entire treaty provisions and the terms makes up the agreement that they would accept or be part of CARICOM as a full member. Bermuda is unlike the other sovereign islands, and so therefore we have refined and also examined the areas of participation, which is included in the green paper. A draft document is not compiled because we are still in the consultation phase, and so that consultation, which the green paper pursues, will be able to best refine what the draft agreement entails.
Okay. Supplementary.
No supplementary. I think we have an answer. Barely. Thank you.
Second question.
Yes, Mr. Speaker. So the minister has advised that the fees are 0.16% of annual expenditure. So that appears to be approximately $2 million on an annual basis based on the budget expenditures. Can the minister expand on what additional costs may be to the taxpayer, given that there would likely be a CARICOM ambassador and other potential posts that come with CARICOM membership? Thank you.
Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The current cost, it's important to clarify that the 0.6 is based on full participation. As I just
Sorry, just point of clarity, because I don't want the minister to go down a different road. I think what she was 0.16 and she's just said 0.6. I just want to get clarity if her statement, I believe, said 0.16 and she just stated 0.6. I think we should clarify that.
The shadow minister is gracious. 0.16% is accurate in terms of what a full membership would, based on our GDP, would entail. However, because of Bermuda's status and the terms of our current letter of entrustment and framework, it is not foreseen that we would have to pay the full cost of a full member, so someone that can accede to all of the provisions. In terms of the foreseen cost, at present there are no foreseen costs. We are in the consultation phase. I do note the position that was concluded in the Honorable Shadow Minister's question, but at present we are in the consultation phase to be able to deepen these ties with CARICOM. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Supplementary or third question?
Third question, Mr. Speaker. I'm a little surprised that the green paper has not been tabled in the House. We understand that it will be put to the public at around 1 o'clock today. Will the minister undertake to table the green paper in the House at a future date?
Minister.
Yes.
Great. Thank you for that clarification. Yes, supplementary. In respect of the overall timelines, can the minister then share what the rest of the anticipated timeline looks like from the tabling of the green paper in the House to the eventual publication of a white paper?
Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The government is seeking to take a measured approach. We will be governed by the feedback that we receive from the public. And once we have completed consultation, we will publish a white paper. Thank you.
Second sub.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Again, if the minister could add some clarity, is there an anticipated timeline? We say we're taking our time, we're going to be careful. can the minister opine on, does that look like it's going to be the end of the year? How long is the green paper consultation period going to be for? I think people have the right to know what they're facing in terms of these decisions.
Minister?
We're going to proceed with a 3-month consultation, but we will be guided, as I shared in my previous response, by the public. If they need more information, we'll provide the information as they seem to suggest that they need. The Ministry of Home Affairs has done a deep research and deep engagement with stakeholders to be able to present the document and the green paper as currently concluded and presented. However, as further information becomes known, as more information is also therefore known, we want to be able to amply communicate that to the public as well. And so we do not have a fixed timeline at present, but we are commencing our consultation, which will include town halls, which I will share with this Honorable House in a future ministerial statement. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister. Members, that brings us to a conclusion of the question period. I think all the supplementaries and questions have been used. There are no other member who wishes to put a question to you. Members, we thank you for your participation. We'll now move on. The next item on the order paper is the congratulatory and obituary speeches. Would any member wish to speak to that? MP Lister, I see you rose quickly that time. Would you like your 3 minutes?
Good morning, Mr. Speaker. Good morning to the listening
Morning.
audience and to this honorable house. Mr. Speaker, I stand today just to give recognition of this week. This week, as a member of Somerset Cricket Club, we celebrate our anniversary week, Mr. Speaker. Somerset Cricket Club has been in existence for 124 years, but in its present location at the grounds of Somerset Cricket Club for 78 years. And Mr. Speaker, as we do every year, we have our anniversary week, which started yesterday with a church service at the Agape Ministries out in Dockyard by Bishop Landy. With anyone who is in attendance, they can say that it was a blessed service and a great way to start our week. Mr. Speaker, I'd just like to read over what the week of events looks like to invite all the members out. Tonight, there will be an education committee presentation by Ms. Chardonnay Rollins for young people. On Tuesday, tomorrow, we have our special bingo, so we invite all those who love bingo to come out. On Wednesday, Mr. Speaker, we have our seniors tea at 12 noon, so I invite all the seniors out. And then later on that evening, there is a slate of youth football games. So if you have young people, we invite them to come out to watch the youth football games. Thursday night, we have our games night. And again, I invite the public to come out to take part in our games night. And then on Friday, there's an appreciation night for any volunteers over the past 20 years or so who have volunteered at Somerset Cricket Club, whether it be for football, for cricket, or any other sporting activity. You invite them out. And then on Saturday night, there's a football game between Rangers and Somerset Cricket Club. And then on Saturday night, we have our President's Dinner. So I invite those to look out for tickets to attend the President's Dinner. So, Mr. Speaker, I'd like to just send again congratulations to Somerset Cricket Club on 124 years of existence, but 78 years in our present location. And Mr. Speaker, I'd like to take the last minute of my time. Last Friday, we had International Women's Day, and I'd like to again to just acknowledge all the women, but Mr. Speaker, highlighting and recognizing the Woman of the Year recipient, my cousin, Letitia Lister. I do declare my entrance, and she's also the daughter of former MP Terry Lister. But Mr. Speaker, what was even more touching, I believe, was last year's recipient, again, my cousin, Lisa Lister, daughter of former MP Walter Lister, had got to hand over the award this year to her cousin. So I'd like to just again congratulate my cousin, Miss Letitia Lister Burgess, on receiving the award for Woman of the Year 2026. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, MP. I noticed MP Ming was on her feet pretty quickly, so we've gone from the west to the east.
Okay.
Member?
Good morning,
You have your
Mr.
3
Speaker and
minutes.
listening audience. First of all, Mr. Speaker, with a very sad heart, I know I was associated with these comments on Friday, but I wanted to bring mention of it myself. And that was on the passing of Staunch St. Georgian, a person who touched many, many hearts, even children outside of St. George's, and that would be Aunt Cynthia Lattimore. She was a teacher at St. George's Secondary for many, many years. And it's so funny, over the weekend, I bumped into several people who were like, she taught me. And being a teacher, you can imagine that she touched many minds and hearts. She would truly be missed. I would definitely say she was a woman of integrity. Her word was her bond. And if she said it, she meant it. And if she was going to do it, it was going to get done. I would just like to let her only son, Donald, his wife, Margaret, and the Lattimore and Basin families know that they are in our thoughts and prayers. Mr. Speaker, I'd also like to extend congratulations to the International Women's Day Committee for organizing a fine event every year, and also having panels that definitely are thought-provoking and allow us as women to think about our role, and also mindful of the fact that in terms of parity with our male counterparts, we still have a very, very, very long way to go. There were other International Women's Day events over this weekend, and I'd just like to thank persons who take the time to organize and remember women at this time. I'd also like to say, give congratulations to Letitia Lister Burgess, because her story was impeccable. She has done a lot of work in the space of mental health, and she shared her story, which was very sensitive, with all of the women there. And that's not easy, and I recognize that, Mr. Speaker. And so for that, I commend her. I'd like to associate Minister Wilson with there's comments as well. And also, congratulations to Somerset Cricket Club on their anniversary week. I will try to make it there for one of the events, because in this space, whilst you know I am diehard St. George's, and every
red and blue for you that night.
I am a member of Somerset Cricket Club as well. I believe it's important to be a member of more than one club. So, and you see me bouncing around my various memberships.
You like being on a winning team, I understand.
I'll even be up there when St. George's wins, Mr. Speaker. But congratulations, club life's not easy. And to the executive of Somerset Cricket Club, I wish them all the best, and the members as well. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, MP. Does any other member wish to make opposition leader?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and good morning.
Good morning.
Last night, I had the opportunity to go to the Bermuda Spelling Bee. Really good event. 13 finalists were participating yesterday, and I like to highlight the final three. So it was George Morris from Delwood Middle School came in third, and then it was Eli Adunton from Salters Grammar, and the winner, Hunter Pewter from Summersfield Academy. It was quite impressive watching these young people spell some very difficult words. The governor gave some words of encouragement at the end, and he did mention to everybody there he's not sure he would have made it to the finals. And I can agree with him there, because some of those words were extremely difficult. But it's amazing to see our young people putting in the work, and it was really encouraging to see from different various schools the high quality of the ability to spell difficult words, and the coaching that went into it from the teachers. So congratulations to all the finalists, and specifically to the winner. Thank you.
Any other member wish to make a contribution? MP, Minister Furby.
Yes, good morning, Mr. Speaker. I do want to take the opportunity to give congratulatory remarks to a day that many of us in this house may participate in, and that is congratulatory to Nikita Robinson, who organizes World Book Day every year. And, you may think in this day and age, not many children are probably reading books, but we should still keep books on the forefront of our children and our youth's mind as being very important to their literacy skills. And for those persons in our community who participate in that particular day, we want to recognize you and give a huge thanks for continuing to make reading relevant. Mr. Speaker, I do want to also acknowledge the International Women's Day activities that occurred last week, and also recognizing Dr. Letitia Lister Burgess for being selected as Woman of the Year. I also want to take this time to think of all the women around the world globally who experience disadvantages, with the war currently happening across our seas. It is important to recognize the rights that are violated, women's rights that are violated. And I just want to take the time to again congratulate everyone who is recognizing International Women's Day. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Any other member? MP DeCudo.
Yes, good morning. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'd like to congratulate the Casa dos Azores on their 11th anniversary. I had the pleasure of joining them for their celebration last night, and I want to thank Lucia Botello, her officers, the members for a fabulous time. They have a young dance troupe, cultural dance troupe, and it's quite enjoyable watching them. And I'm not clear all the youngsters enjoyed themselves as much as those watching did, but I know that as they get older, they will appreciate the opportunity to learn more about their culture and their families' cultures. Ms. Botello pointed out a couple of things in her remarks that I thought were really nice to hear. She talked about how they were open to the whole community and that they don't intend to operate as an isolated cultural organization, but they wanted to be part of and invite the community in. And I think that's really important as Bermuda develops as a diverse and multicultural community. And I also want to thank the CASA for doing their part to celebrate and to continue to promulgate the role of the Azorian culture in Bermuda. Thank you, Mr.
Thank you. Any other member wish to make a contribution? None. MP De Silva, Minister De Silva.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you for giving me that second. Mr. Speaker, I'd like the House to send congratulations to Mrs. Nadine Brown Evans Henry. She is the president-elect of the BPSU, and associate Mr. Weeks. Everybody on this side wishes to be associated, Mr. Speaker, and Lord willing, she will take office on Friday, the 13th.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other? None other? Well, members, that brings us to a close of the congratulatory and obituary speeches, so we'll move on. Matters of privilege, there are none. Personal explanations, there are none. Notice of motions for the adjournment of the House on matters of urgent public importance, there are none. Introduction of bills, there are none. Notice of motions, there are none. So that brings us, members, to the point of the main purpose for today, which is the continuation of the estimate of revenues and expenditures for the year 2026 and 2027. And this morning, again, for the listening audience, as we go into the budget debates each day, there are 8 hours that are set aside for the annual debates each day. And today, the first 4 hours will cover the Ministry of Labor and Economy, and the second 4 will be the Ministry of Youth, Social Development, and Seniors. When we go into to enable to debate the individual departments, we have to go into committee. So the House will be moved into committee for the next 8 hours, and the Speaker will be out of the chair, and the House will be under the guidance of the chair panel of chairs. And the morning chair will start us off will be MP Ming. After the House is moved in committee, MP Ming will then take the chair. Senior Minister, will you lead us into committee?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I move that the House do now resume in Committee of Supply to consider the estimates of revenue and expenditure for 26-27.
Are there any objections to that? There are none. MP Ming? Thank you. MP?
Hi, Clark. Go ahead. I'm glad you found me. Yeah.
Should been marked on there. Yeah, let me give you one of these updated ones. Yeah, they changed it last week.
The chair is not really good in giving us the updated versions. Okay.
Yeah.
So we're doing this one.
Yes. Good.
Okay. Cool.
Good thing you picked up on that. I would have thought you would have, but it's already.
Are we getting tired? Honorable members, we are now in Committee of Supply for further consideration of the estimates of revenue and expenditure for the year 2026-27. The following heads will be debated. Under Youth, Social Development and Seniors, heads 86, 23, and 55. I call on the minister in charge to proceed. Minister, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Madam Chair, I move the following heads: 86, Ministry of Youth, Social Development and Seniors Headquarters; 23, Child and Family Services; 55, Financial Assistance, be now taken under consideration.
And it has been moved that heads 23 and 55 be approved. Is there any objection to that motion? No objection, agreed to.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, just like to just say that the statements are very lengthy ones, and so I ask that my colleagues indulge. It's lots of information. I ask that we are listening attentively so that questions can be made accordingly. Madam Chair, I'm
Minister,
pleased.
before you start, I just want to be clear on something. The heads that I have listed are heads 86, 23, and 55, but you moved 23 and 55.
I did 86 first.
No, you just said 23 and 55, so we just want to be sure that.
Yes, so I move following heads: 86, Ministry of Youth, Social Development and Seniors Headquarters; 23, Child and Family Services; 55, Financial Assistance, be now taken under consideration.
So we just said for the sake of record keeping, I'm just going to say that it's been moved that heads 86, 23, and 55 be approved. Is there any objection? No, agreed to. Thank you, Minister.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I am pleased to present the 26-27 budget estimates for the Ministry of Youth, Social Development and Seniors, which comprises of the Ministry of Youth, Social Development and Seniors Headquarters, inclusive of Aging and Disability Services, the K. Margaret Carter Center, the Office of Youth Affairs, the Department of Child and Family Services, and the Department of Financial Assistance. Madam Chair, in the 2026-27 budget allocations for the Ministry of Youth, Social Development and Seniors demonstrates there is a continued financial commitment to support Bermuda's population during their lifetime, which includes our most vulnerable population groups, that is our children, persons with disabilities, and our seniors. The government is committed to ensuring the services and programs offered by the ministry will directly influence and enhance persons' overall well-being and quality of life. Madam Chair, the ministry focused on numerous initiatives during the last budget year, which are ongoing and will continue in the upcoming 26-27 budget year. I will briefly highlight these as follows. This budget, Madam Chair, advances a clear, coordinated, and evidence-based response to homelessness in Bermuda. A homelessness advisory panel comprising of public, private, and nonprofit representatives whose mission was to develop a comprehensive plan to end homelessness has completed a report, and a National Homelessness Action Plan has been devised. In this fiscal year, the plan's priority is to further strengthen urgent life-saving efforts and to end rough sleeping while also developing a system that is data-driven, accountable, and sustainable. The budgeted amount for the upcoming fiscal year to address the Housing First for Rough Sleepers program is $70,000. This measure reflects a Housing First approach and ensures that public resources are targeted where they will achieve the greatest impact. With transparent monitoring, the plan will be executed under the vigilant supervision of the Homelessness Advisory Panel in collaboration with government ministry partners and key stakeholders. Looking ahead, Madam Chair, the budget lays the foundation for continuing to strengthen support housing options that will assist with early identification and prevention of homelessness over the medium term. In 2026-27, a grant of $150,000 has been budgeted to continue to support Astor House, a government-supported housing facility that is a 9-bed boarding house, providing supported housing and services through coordination and intensive support to enable inmates to sustainably return to life after incarceration. This initiative, in partnership with whom the Department of Corrections, the Department of Court Services, and is supported by the Bermuda Police Service. This initiative offers barrier-free housing for former inmates, along with rehabilitation and long-term planning to help lower recidivism. Madam Chair, in March of 2025, the ministry partnered with charitable organization Whom to support the Rental Support Services Emergency Subsidy Program to ensure people's safety while enabling access to adequate accommodation and services for an agreed period so that they can live in a dignified space with access to minimum service, water, electricity, and household items to cover basic needs. This program also fills a gap in providing immediate rental support in the form of first month's rent or deposit needed to secure accommodation. A hardship fund was established with the multidisciplinary team comprising representatives from various nonprofit agencies who determined the eligibility of applicants. As of February 2026, the fund has disbursed a total of $93,790. $150,000 has been budgeted in 2026-27 to support the hardship fund. Rental expenses remain the main reason for accessing hardship fund. Rental expenses are reflected in requests made to the Department of Financial Assistance, as rental expenses continue to be the primary factor leading individuals to seek support from the hardship fund. This trend is evident in the numerous requests received by the Department of Financial Assistance, where a significant portion of applicants cite rental payments as the main reason for requiring aid. The ongoing demand for assistance with rental costs highlights a critical role the hardship fund plays in providing relief to those facing housing instability. Madam Chair, the Gender Affairs Council was established in 2023 to ensure that the government could address legislation and policy, research and evaluation, and community engagement and education. Mr. Chairman, on Monday, the 17th of November, 2025, the council held their first town hall at the Bermuda Economic Development Corporation. This forum allowed the council to highlight public concerns about gender-based violence, sexual harassment, reproductive rights, and workplace inequality. The council addressed the limitations on finding gender-specific data, which would assist them in making more informed recommendations to the ministry. The meeting provided an opportunity for attendees to raise the need of better engagement with different genders to discuss broader social issues such as homelessness among men, racial and income disparities, and the influence of generational beliefs. The council aims to hold conversations this year to continue to raise awareness on gender issues and strengthen partnerships with the public and community groups. Madam Chair, ensuring the best interests, protection, and safeguarding of our children is imperative. In support of this, during the past year, the Ministry of Youth, Social Development, and Seniors continued to strengthen the litigation guardian framework by setting up building blocks for a long-term sustainable litigation guardian service. Mr. Chairman, in November of 2025, the ministry organized its fourth awareness campaign to recognize the United Nations International Day for the Elimination of Violence Against Women and Girls and the launch of the 16 Days of Activism Against Gender-Based Violence. The theme was to unite to end digital violence against all girls, women and girls, which is an increasing relevant topic locally and internationally. This provided an opportunity for the ministry to provide public awareness of digital safety, such as cyber stalking, non-consensual sharing of intimate images or videos, and online harassment. Members of the public were reminded to report such content, promote respectful behavior, and use compassion with victims of harassment. Mr. Chairman, on the 8th of February 2026, the budget launched the guidebook entitled Envision Your Retirement 2026 Planning Guide to Retirement. The guide was developed to provide tools that would assist persons on proactive retirement planning as Bermuda's seniors population continues to increase. The aim of the guide is to provide pensioners and residents approaching retirement access to vital information that would assist in planning in advance for a secure and fulfilling retirement. The public will be informed of upcoming education sessions that would assist individuals to have a better understanding of the guide and the retirement process. The guide can be located on the ministry's website, and hard copies can be collected from the ministry's headquarters located at Veritas Place, 6th floor, 65 Court Street, Hamilton, or Aging and Disability Services located at the Continental Building, 25 Church Street, Hamilton. Madam Chair, during the past year, the ministry continued promoting its services and programs to educate the public on issues such as homelessness, protections for seniors and persons with disability through radio talk shows, Let's Get Social, The Golden Hour, in-person meetings with whom various senior clubs and churches and guest speaking events. Madam Chair, I will now move on to the summary of the fiscal year 26-27 current account budget estimate for the Ministry of Youth, Social Development, and Seniors, which is found on page B 289 of the approved estimates of revenue and expenditure for the year 26-27. The ministry's total budget estimate for fiscal year 26-27 is $97,274,000. Madam Chair, this represents an increase of $6 million or 7% compared to the original estimate of $91,274,000 for fiscal year 25-26. Madam Chair, the breakdown of the ministry's current account budget estimate for 26-27 by head, as shown on page B 289, is as follows. Head 86, the ministry headquarters, $16.052 million, an increase of 14%. Head 23, the Department of Child and Family Services, $22.821 million, an increase of 8%. Head 55, Financial Assistance, $58.401 million, increase of 4%. And overall ministry total, $97.274 million, an increase of 7%. Madam Chair, this summary shows that the 2026-27 current expenditure allocations for all heads within the ministry have increased. I will explain the details of these increases further in this budget. Madam Chair, the current account expenditure for Head 86, Ministry Headquarters, can be found on pages B 289 to B 292 of the estimates book. The ministry headquarters is responsible for the budget of 10 business units. 96000 Administration, 96040 Aging and Disability Services, 96050 K. Margaret Carter Center, 96060 Policy Development, 96070 Grants to the Third Sector, 96080 Youth Office, 96090 Youth Grants and Investments, 960 6 100 youth community centers, 9 6110 school programs, before, after, and out of school, and 9 6120 youth policy. Madam Chair, the mission of the Ministry of Youth, Social Development, and Seniors Headquarters, found on page B290, is the protection of all individuals during their lifetime and facilitation of their well-being. The 5 objectives of the Ministry Headquarters are also found on page B290, which are: 1, collaborate with ministry departments to ensure overall policy objectives are met. 2, create partnerships that allow for better coordinated services that are synergistic with the government's social initiatives. 3, help facilitate or improve social supports for Bermuda's at-risk populations. 4, ensure all stakeholders have safeguarding and child protection policy statements. 5, advance government social policy initiatives with an emphasis on social cohesion. Madam Chair, the general summary of the ministry's budget on page B290 shows that the total budget allocation for the ministry headquarters for fiscal year 26-27 is $16,052,000 distributed amongst the 10 business units, representing a net increase of $1,941,000. I will now share details of each of these business units, commencing with business unit 96000 administration. Madam Chair, the 26-27 budget for administration business unit 9600 of $1,493,000 compares to the $1,625,000 originally budgeted in financial year 2025-26. This reflects a decrease of $132,000, or an 8% decrease, as shown on page B290, which is primarily due to less funding needed for professional services. These monies will be used within the ministry to support programs such as a new disability unit within Aging and Disability Services and grants to the third sector. Madam Chair, I will now present the budget for Business Unit 96040, Aging and Disability Services, which can be found on page B290. Madam Chair, the mission of Aging and Disability Services is to support and protect seniors and persons with disabilities at risk of abuse or self-neglect via compliance program delivery, education, and stakeholder collaboration. ADS has a budget allocation of $2,374,000 for fiscal year 2026-27, representing $468,000 more than the prior year. Included in this amount is the mid-year supplementary funding of $181,000. Funding provides for a total of 11 full-time employees. Madam Chair, the primary focus of the Aging and Disability Services is adult protection, delivered principally through its case management program. In addition to this core function, the office plays a critical role in the development and delivery of public education and awareness initiatives. These efforts are aimed at strengthening community understanding of the services provided by ADS, as well as increasing awareness of key issues affecting seniors and people with disabilities. As an ex officio member of the Disability Advisory Council, DAC, Aging and Disability Services remains committed to supporting disability initiatives. In this capacity, ADS works collaboratively with DAC members and community organizations to advocate for measures that enhance inclusion, protect rights, and improve the quality of life for persons with physical and intellectual disabilities. Madam Chair, a key area of collaboration for ADS is the provision of support to individuals with complex needs, particularly adults with intellectual disabilities and diminished capacity. These cases often involve challenges as it relates to informed consent, heightened safeguarding risk associated with complex behaviors, and limited or absent family support, requiring coordinated and specialized intervention. Over the past few years, ADS has partnered with the Mid-Atlantic Wellness Institute to support a client currently placed overseas. This arrangement was necessitated by the absence of specialized services and infrastructure on island, and continues to represent the most appropriate and cost-effective option for meeting the client's assessed needs at its time. ADS also pays for court-ordered litigation guardian services of another young adult with intellectual disabilities who's receiving assistance from therapeutic counseling services, which will total close to $40,000 for the 2025-26 year. Madam Chair, in 25-26, policy and program development within Aging and Disability Services continues to support the planning, development, and coordination of policies and programs for seniors and persons with physical and intellectual disabilities. Funding allocated to this area supports the sustained delivery of core policy functions while enabling measurable progress on key national initiatives. Madam Chair, Bermuda's National Disability Register application, which forms a key component of the government's 5-year national plan for adults with intellectual disabilities and their families, successfully migrated to government-managed local servers in December of 2025. While completed migration required additional time due to the necessary system enhancements to ensure a secure and effective transfer of information, this milestone represents a significant achievement in strengthening local digital capacity and data stewardship. During 2025-26, ADS continues to maintain and promote the Disability Register as a centralized repository for acute and current data on persons with disabilities. This data supports evidence-based planning, policy development, and service delivery across sectors including health, education, employment, and social services. Key performance outcomes for the fiscal year include successful migration of all disability registered data to local servers without loss or compromise of information, continued registration of new participants on the platform, expanding the national data set. A maintenance contract is currently under development to support the next phase of the project. Only system functions that cannot yet be maintained locally will be embedded under this contract, ensuring that majority of the application can be sustained and advanced on island. This approach maximizes local control, enhances system reliability, and lays the foundation for future application enhancements. Madam Chair, in the year ahead, ADS will focus on expanding outreach and engagement to increase registration and participation in the Disability Register, generating more comprehensive and analytical reports to inform policy making, continuing to develop local technical capacity to fully manage and enhance the application, reducing reliance on external contractors over time, leveraging the Disability Register data to identify service gaps and guide targeted interventions under the National Plan for Adults with Intellectual Disabilities and their families. Madam Chair, this work demonstrates the government's commitment to robust data management, evidence-based policy development, and advancements of services for persons with disabilities, ensuring that the Disability Register remains a vital tool for planning, monitoring, and improving national outcomes. Aging and Disability Services is well positioned to lead this work, consistent with its core mandate and its ongoing development of new disability legislation, including the proposed Disability Act. Madam Chair, since last year, significant work has been undertaken to advance disability inclusion. This process began with a comparative review of disability rights legislation and government frameworks across several jurisdictions, including the Bahamas, Jamaica, and the United Kingdom and the United States. This analysis highlighted that each jurisdiction has established standalone legislative frameworks and designated focal points or disability units in accordance with Article 33 of the United Nations Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities to strengthen and protect the rights of persons with disabilities. Madam Chair, building on this analysis, stakeholder engagement was initiated to gather insight into the current state of disability inclusion in Bermuda, identify gaps within existing systems, and understand lived experiences. Based on this engagement, a policy proposal was developed and presented to the ministry leadership, outlining 2 options to address the identified gaps. 1, to amend existing legislation, and 2, to develop standalone disability legislation. Both options were underpinned by the recommendation to first establish a disability unit to ensure appropriate resources and governance to support reform. A decision was taken to proceed with amendments to existing legislation alongside the establishment of a disability unit. This unit aims to form the foundation of a strong and sustainable framework for disability inclusion in Bermuda, beginning with the onboarding of a project manager through allocated supplemental funding. The unit will be scaled over time as work advances and capacity requirements are further defined. Ongoing stakeholder engagement will remain a core component of implementation, ensuring that the framework is informed by lived experiences and remains responsive to the needs and priorities of persons with disabilities. Madam Chair, under its broader policy and program remit, Aging and Disability Services is responsible for administering duty relief exemption requests for materials that support aging at home, as well as medical and adaptive equipment related to disability conditions. In 2025-26, ADS received and approved 16 duty relief exemptions, an increase of 8 approvals in 2024-25. Building on this progress, ADS will continue to work collaboratively with partners in the upcoming fiscal year to raise awareness and encourage uptake of this exemption, supporting greater independence, accessibility, and quality of life for seniors and persons with disabilities. Madam Chair, continuing with the theme of aging, a significant achievement for the Ministry of Youth, Social Development, and Seniors during the past year was the development of the National Senior Strategy 2024 to 2030, fulfilling the government's commitment set out in the 2020 speech from the throne. The strategy provides a comprehensive long-term framework to ensure that Bermuda's seniors and future generations are supported to age well with dignity, independence, and security. To advance implementation, a national senior strategy project manager was onboarded in October 2025 to establish and operationalize the governance, coordination, and monitoring infrastructure required to oversee delivery of the strategy. This role is also responsible for coordinating the development of long-term care actions that fall within the broader strategy and the remit of the ministry, ensuring alignment across policy, planning, and service delivery. During the 2025-26, the ministry will continue to focus on strengthening implementation, advancing priority actions, and improving accountability and outcomes on the National Senior Strategy, positioning Bermuda to respond effectively to demographic change and the evolving needs of its aging population. Madam Chair, over the last fiscal year, several national policies and program initiatives have commenced. These include the establishment of a long-term care working group. The Ministry of Youth, Social Development, and Seniors is responsible for strategic development of this sector. However, this must be done in partnership with the Ministry of Health and other key stakeholders. Accordingly, a working group was established a year ago to facilitate identifying systemic barriers and consequently both short and long-term solutions for long-term care with a focus on the current community and hospital bed crisis. The group comprises of representatives and leadership across government, health, and social care and support sectors, facilitating cross-ministry department and Quango issue and solution identification. Data collection is currently underway to help target pilot program development to address barriers to hospital discharge and care in the community. Amendments to the Senior Abuse Register Act 2008. ADS continued to engage and consult with the Attorney General's chambers on drafting instructions submitted to enhance the protections available under the Act in relation to financial exploitation. Furthermore, advocacy and cross-ministerial engagement occurred on how to advance more substantive changes required under the Act in alignment with other initiatives such as the Office of the Public Guardian. Publication of an integrated care pathway for dementia. The ministry contracted the Bermuda Health Council to conduct and research and stakeholder engagement to identify current practices, local practices, service availability, and gaps international best practices, and viable local solutions for quality dementia prevention, diagnosis, and care at a total cost of $60,000. The ICP Development engaged health professionals, professional caregivers, families, and dementia-related organizations. The Integrated Care Pathway was published in December 2025 and outlined 7 key phases to ensure quality outcomes for persons living with dementia and their families, including awareness and risk reduction, initial detection, diagnostic workup, diagnostics disclosure, ongoing medical and social care, care in the community, and end-of-life support. The next steps are to identify and prioritize key actions through stakeholder working groups to work towards developing and implementing the identified pathway. This is part of the Ministry of Youth, Social Development, and Seniors' commitment to addressing dementia in our community, and a key focus on the National Senior Strategy. The Dementia Integrated Care Pathway Report 2025 is available for review on the Ministry of Youth, Social Development, and Seniors website, and members of the public and stakeholders are encouraged to read the report and engage with its recommendations as the report is implemented. ADS continued collaboration with the Ministry of Justice in their creation of an Office of the Public Guardian to ensure our high-risk welfare cases are managed under the appropriate entity and to address the broader needs of the community in this area. This is a critical service for our community, and a pilot program will help further define the scope and role of the Office of the Public Guardian. The development of the Seniors Daycare Facility. This initiative is intended to strengthen Bermuda's continuum of care for seniors by delivering a purpose-built senior day facility. The facility will enhance quality of life and reduce social isolation amongst seniors, particularly those living with dementia or cognitive impairments, alleviate financial, physical, and emotional pressures on caregivers through structured daytime support, and provide opportunities for on-site best practice training in dementia-specific care for health professionals. Madam Chair, during the last fiscal year, the Gilbert Institute was identified as the proposed location for the facility. The project design prioritizes accessibility, robust safety measures, and the integration of sensory-friendly indoor and outdoor spaces to create a therapeutic environment that supports independence, dignity, and well-being. Key milestones achieved to date include the release of the request for proposals in June of 2025. A site visit was held on June 13, 2025, that was extended by all 4 shortlisted architectural firms, each of which expressed interest in the project. Closure of the RFP in July 2025, with the contract subsequently awarded to Botello Wood Architects. Moving forward, demolition and discovery works are scheduled to commence in the new fiscal year. Construction is anticipated to begin between September and October of 2026, subject to planning approval and the issuance of a building control permit. The Department of Planning advertised the project on January 27th, 2026, in accordance with the required 14-day public objection period, which closed on February 10, 2026. Madam Chair, the Public Works is currently progressing the preparation of building control documents and will subsequently advance asbestos abatement, demolition, and construction packages. Once planning approval is secured, the building control permit is expected to follow shortly thereafter. $1,800,000 has been budgeted in capital funding for 26-27 as shown on page C8. Upon full operation, the facility is expected to require a staffing complement of 87 staff to support up to 50 clients with varying levels of care, ensuring appropriate care ratios and delivery of high-quality specialized services. Madam Chair, education and awareness is an important component to aging and disability services to ensure our commitment knows how to protect itself from senior abuse, plans for their future, support inclusion, and upholding disability rights. and identify and locate available services and support to meet their needs. Over 2024-25, ADS held 19 education and awareness events. During this fiscal year, ADS aims to exceed this number. In 2025, events included ADS' third annual Seniors Tea. This successful event hosted over 100 seniors and focused on the importance of planning ahead through guest speaker Perry Trott and included information booths for support services such as the Department of Financial Assistance, social insurance, and age concern. The feedback from the participant survey and partner agencies was extremely positive. I would like to acknowledge and thank the generosity of those that made the event possible, including the Bermuda Police Services who volunteered at the event and the Northland Primary School Choir for their uplifting performance. ADS also commenced a training partnership with the Bermuda Peer Learning Network to provide abuse prevention and reporting training in all care homes on island, which commenced in the fall of 2025, and feedback to date has been very positive. Madam Chair, education awareness continues to be a core pillar of aging and disability services, ensuring the community is informed and empowered to prevent senior abuse, plan for later life, uphold the rights and inclusion of persons with disabilities, and access the services and supports available to them. Madam Chair, case management represents the primary program under ADS, Business Unit 96040. Case management clients include seniors and persons over 18 years of age with long-standing disability conditions and are divided into general case management and adult protection services. General case management services include needs and service identification and system navigation and support coordination. Adult protection pertains to seniors and persons with disabilities who are at risk of abuse, neglect, or self-neglect. The case management team continues to strive to provide quality services and support. Despite challenges arising from service and system gaps, these challenges underscore the importance of the ongoing work of ADS together with other ministries to address critical issues such as long-term care, public guardianship, and the prevention of domestic abuse. Madam Chair, in 2025-26, ADS had a total of 353 new cases. These do not include cases that remained open from the previous fiscal year. Of these cases, 200 were general case management, 8 which were abuse allegations of persons with disabilities under 65 years of age. The remainder of the total cases were senior abuse referrals, totaling 153 reports received. The reports identified by primary presenting types of abuse consisted of 33% for physical abuse, 29% for financial exploitation, 24% for psychological abuse, 12% for neglect, and 2% for sexual abuse. Of these reports received to date, 29% were substantiated, 56% were unsubstantiated, and 15% are pending as they are still under investigation. Madam Chair, Aging and Disability Services provided these case management services with a team of 4 social workers and 1 social work coordinator and a program manager. And during this fiscal year, the social work assistance post was able to be filled by a temporary relief contract. In 2024, ADS filled the new social work posts, increasing the post to a total of 4 social workers with the case management section. As a result, the average social worker to client ratio was 1:38 for fiscal year 25-26, a slight decrease from the previous year. However, best practice standard is 1:25 clients for low risk or low need clients and should be substantially less for high complex and risk cases, which many ADS cases are. Sustained high caseloads result in a required focus on risk reduction opposed to overall quality of life, less time available for lower risk cases, and preventative support to clients, prolonged investigations, and limited monitoring. To illustrate the latter, for the last fiscal year, senior abuse cases still open after 3 months were 46%, which is impacted by caseloads and current program structures based on the current staffing complement. Madam Chair, over the course of the last year, the case management program made key advancements internally and maintained key external partnerships to strengthen our responses to the needs of persons with disabilities and seniors. From an adult protection and general case management perspective, I will now outline these initiatives. ADS continues as a core member on key committees, including the Multi-Agency Risk Assessment Committee. MORAC manages high-risk domestic violence cases and also led the development of the domestic abuse strategy discussed further in this brief. The Sexual Assault Response Team coordinates responses and support for survivors of sexual assault. The Transition Team, established to help identify and plan for service needs for persons with intellectual disabilities as they age. The Transition Team is co-chaired by Aging and Disability Services and the Community Intellectual Disabilities Team from the Mid-Atlantic Wellness Institute. The team meets monthly and consists of representatives from multiple ministries and departments, including Education, Child and Family Services, Health, Bermuda Hospitals Board, and ADS. The Domestic Abuse Steering Committee, a cross-ministry committee established to align and address policy and practice development around domestic abuse. Madam Chair, ADS contracts a registered nurse to conduct long-term care assessments when community nursing support from the Department of Health is unavailable, and to assist with investigations alongside social workers responsible for seniors abuse cases involving clinical care concerns. In 2024-25, the cost of this contracted service totaled $7,000, decreasing to $5,525.26. With the establishment of a new registered nurse role at the K. Margaret Carter Center in February of 2026, ADS case management staff have now dedicated in-house clinical support for assessment and investigations. This new arrangement is expected to improve response times and service continuity, as contracted nurses previously had competing full-time commitments, and community health nurses have existing workloads that limited their availability. Additionally, Mr. Chairman, in 2025, Aging and Disability Services implemented a structured decision-making framework for intake and safety assessments. The SDM is an evidence-based methodology that supports the identification and definition of populations served, prioritizes response times according to risk, and guides safety planning. Implementation activities included the development of tools, integration, and certification with the case management software, testing, and staff training at a total of $335,000. Due to the time required for software certification and to ensure effective change management, the second phase focused on a strength and needs assessment, which was postponed and is now planned for the upcoming fiscal year. The implementation of the intake assessment is critical for obtaining data and reframing ADS case management services into adult protection services and general case management. This reclassification is to work towards the intended future state where all vulnerable adults receive appropriate protection from abuse, neglect, and self-neglect under the law. Madam Chair, professional development is critical to the practice of social work. In January 2026, ADS hosted an advanced certification training and forensic interviewing of older adults provided by Model Consulting Group. This intensive 4-day training was developed initially for the Department of Justice Elder Abuse Program in the United States by Model Consulting Group, who were also then contracted to provide the training nationally. The training cost was $28,000 and included 24 participants from the Bermuda Police Service, the Department of Public Prosecutions, and Aging and Disability Services. The training not only provided critical skill enhancement for staff with experience in interviewing and or working with older adults, but also enabled cross-agency engagement, learning, and collaboration. The course was a complete success with a 100% pass rate for the practicum held on the final day. Madam Chair, in 2024, as part of the supplemental funding, a hardship fund of $120,000 was allocated for case management. Funds are used for critical services or interventions required to ensure the safety or welfare of clients. To date, this has included grocery cards, cleaning services where the state of the home was preventing care services from entering, and temporary emergency funding for welfare clients. Welfare clients are people with diminished decision-making capacity, no responsible person, and a high risk to their safety and welfare. Over 2024-25 and 25-26, this has included ensuring basic needs are met for these clients, as well as emergency medical procedures and care support. In the third quarter, 2025-26, an additional $100,000 was awarded to this fund for the two primary purposes: the implementation of a hearing aid program to ensure those who are uninsured and underinsured have access to hearing tests and devices. This program, identified late last fiscal year, was paused due to the emergency fund required for a welfare client. The additional funding will now enable its implementation, which is expected to start prior to the end of this fiscal year. Supplemental funding for a foster child with profound disabilities that has aged out from the Department of Child and Family Services and face funding shortages in relation to their complex needs and available benefits. With a total of $220,000 allocated for hardship funding in 26-27, Aging and Disability Services is better positioned to assist clients while ensuring that the distribution of these funds is targeted and risk-based to address priority needs and manage potential community demand. Business Unit 96050, the K. Margaret Carter Center. Madam Chairman, the K. Margaret Carter Center provides essential support for adults with intellectual disabilities through comprehensive day program services and case management, ensuring that adults with intellectual disabilities have consistent access to meaningful engagement, skill development, and social inclusion in a supportive environment. As shown on B290, the K. Margaret Carter Center will receive a budget allocation of $2,556,000 in fiscal year 26-27, $213,000 or 9% more than the prior year. This will fund 19 full-time staff and 3 service providers, thus enabling the delivery of services to 48 service users. Throughout the year, KMCC continued to operate 5 days per week, serving 7 distinct client groups. In recognition of the demands on families, KMCC also continued to provide early morning and late afternoon care outside of regular operational hours to support those requiring extended programming to accommodate the work schedules of families. Madam Chair, in 2025, the K. Margaret Carter Center undertook a significant program revision to strengthen service delivery and enhance client outcomes over the course of the year. The following key developments included clear entry and exit criteria to safeguard service users and staff, ensuring their well-being, a new behavioral support program, the addition of a behavioral specialist, and strengthened crisis support response for clients requiring behavioral support. Defined mandates and program targets for each of the 7 client groups, ensuring individuals are placed in activities that align with their abilities, interests, and functional needs. Digital transformation through electronic forms to streamline program efficiency, data tracking, and improve record keeping, and monthly client engagement summaries to capture participation and track involvement across core programs. seeking out direct client feedback in line with the human rights-based principle, nothing about us without us, which allows service users to influence programming changes that reflect their interests, hosting case reviews with parent, guardians, and care teams to foster collaboration and provide clear insight into client progress. In addition to the program revisions above, social and community engagement has also been a focus. Clients participated in a range of events designed to increase community awareness and provide enriching social experiences, including the Aging and Disability Services Seniors Tea, where clients practice hospitality skills by assisting with providing tableside service, attendance at a community boxing event through charity collaboration, giving clients the opportunity to engage socially outside program hours, hosting His Excellency, the Governor of Bermuda, for a KMCC facility tour led by a client ambassador showcasing the center's programs and achievements, the KMCC wedding experience, a mock wedding hosted by the Hamilton Princess and Beach Club, providing clients with the opportunity to celebrate a traditional life milestone in a dignified and joyful way. In recognition of this achievement, KMCC staff were awarded the Public Service Excellence Award for September of 2025. Participation in a community adaptive sports day, allowing clients to showcase their sportsmanship, active involvement in multiple KBB community cleanup events, participation in a Carter House charity tag day, and hosting celebrations around the world. That was a holiday showcase highlighting the many talents of the clients at KMCC. Madam Chair, over the past year, the K. Margaret Carter Center has revised performance measures to focus on engagement rather than improvement in skill area. This recognizes that success is not solely defined by a skill advancement, as many clients may reach their personal peak in certain areas. Instead, the emphasis is on participation in meaningful activities that enhance quality of life. As such, KMCC has 3 client groups that regularly engage in administrative, hospitality, and product labeling tasks. 2 groups focus on sensory engagement and integration, 1 group to support aging clients with slower paced programming, and 1 group focused on social skills development and recreation. KMCC has expanded its network of community partners this year from 15 to 17, further increasing client exposure and inclusion in the community. While community-based work placements have become increasingly difficult due to many barriers within the current economy and job market, KMCC continues to provide in-house work skills opportunities through partnerships with government department agencies and local businesses, enabling clients to make meaningful contributions while developing their vocational skills. Overall, the programming at the K. Margaret Carter Center continues to take a whole person's approach, addressing life skills, social skills, community connection, health, friendships, recreation, sensory exploration, and therapeutic support. Madam Chair, in addition to the changes mentioned, staff development was also a priority for the year, with 5 professional development sessions being delivered to enhance practice, strengthen knowledge, and ensure staff are equipped to deliver high-quality support in alignment with continuous improvement. And age facilities at the K. Margaret Carter Center have also received attention in the following ways: renovation of a large room to become a clinical and therapeutic hub, to support collaboration with the community intellectual disabilities team, behavioral support, and nursing, ensuring clients have a dedicated space for therapy and clinical care, conversion of a former storage area into a staff room, providing a designated on-site space for staff breaks, which enhances staff well-being and capacity to support clients throughout the day, ongoing upgrades to increase overall campus safety. The K. Margaret Carter Center is grateful to have received supplementary funding of $22,500 to address gaps in the Light Health services due to staffing constraints, with a community partner who's responsible for delivering physiotherapy, occupational therapy, speech therapy services to clients, and to also support the transportation services at KMCC, ensuring continuity of bus operations during staff absences. Madam Chair, despite these improvements and areas of growth, the K. Margaret Carter Center is operating at near full capacity. The transition of 4 clients from the Dame Marjorie Bean Hope Academy and 2 clients from Cedar Bridge Academy's Functional Skills Program this fiscal year alone, combined with a growing wait list, has placed significant pressure on space at the facility. Madam Chair, the K. Margaret Carter Center remains fully committed to continually enhancing its programs. With appropriate resources, KMCC will continue to deliver engaging, inclusive, and high-quality programs that promote skill development and community connection and overall quality of life for adults with intellectual disabilities. Madam Chair, I will move on to Business Unit 96060, Policy Development, page B290. For fiscal year 2026-27, the budget remains the same at $157,000 for policy development. This policy resource supports the ministry's policy commitments, which include Through in Speech and the government's platform initiative. Madam Chair, $4,466,000 has been allocated for fiscal year 26-27 for Business Unit 96070. Grants to the third sector is shown on page B290. This is an increase of $771,000 or 21%, reflecting the inclusion of 2025 supplementary grant funding of $300,000 for nursing homes, residential care facilities, as well as additional funding to support the homelessness strategy. Specific allocations can be found on page C21 of the budget book. Youth Affairs, Madam Chair. I will now present the fiscal year 2026-27 estimates of expenditure and revenue for the Office of Youth Affairs, which comprises the youth development, youth outreach, youth services, and youth policy programs found on page B290 and B291 of the budget book. Madam Chair, the total 26-27 budget allocation for all 4 programs within the Office of Youth Affairs is calculated at $5,010,000, an increase of $621,000 or 14% over the prior year. Madam Chair, the mission of the Office of Youth Affairs is to form a unified approach to tackle issues faced by Bermuda's young people and provide them with the support to have positive and productive futures. Madam Chair, the objectives for the Office of Youth Affairs for 26-27 are as follows. Provide funding support for youth organizations and groups, manage and maintain government community centers, provide before, after, and out-of-school programs for school-aged children, provide recreational programs and activities to surrounding communities, prepare and manage the budget to ensure intended deadlines are met. Monitor and facilitate the goals of the National Youth Policy and action the National Youth Policy Working Group recommendations. Madam Chair, I will now discuss the individual programs associated with this section of the Ministry of Youth, Social Development, and Seniors. Program 8602, Youth Development. Madam Chair, the program budget for fiscal year 26-27 is $863,000. Reflecting a rise of $172,000 or 25% as shown on page B290. Madam Chair, of the program budget, the Youth Office Business Unit 96080 has now been allocated $703,000 in fiscal year 26-27. This funding supports salary and wages for leadership and administrative staff, professional development, including autism-specific spectrum disorder and neurodivergent training, travel for conferences and exchanges, and the operational requirement needed to ensure efficiency and effective administration, which supports the other units in all operations. Such operations include registrations, program payments, staff onboarding, and certification training. It also provides for the continued governance, administration, and oversight of the Youth Office, which is located at Veritas Place, 5th floor, 65 Court Street, Hamilton. Madam Chair, the program budget is also apportioned for youth grants and investments. Business Unit 96090, the allocation is $160,000, reflected on page B290, and is an increase of 19% over fiscal year 25-26. This funding is integral to building sector-wide youth capacity by strengthening the structures, opportunities, and support systems that enable young people and youth-serving organizations to thrive. It supports youth event sponsorships that create accessible platforms for participation, leadership development, skills building, and community engagement. It also provides direct investment in individual young people to help them access training, mentorship opportunities, educational programs, and personal development initiatives that may otherwise be out of reach. In addition, the funding provides essential grants to voluntary youth organizations, enabling them to enhance program delivery, improve governance and operational effectiveness, and build long-term organizational sustainability. Through these investments, organizations are better positioned to recruit and train youth leaders, expand outreach to underserved communities, strengthen safeguarding and inclusion practices, and deliver innovative evidence-based programs that respond to emerging youth needs. Collectively, this fund framework strengthens leadership pipelines, improves the quality and reach of youth programs, and fosters a resilient youth sector capable of delivering consistent, high-impact initiatives. All supported activities are aligned with the National Youth Policy and are intentionally focused on advancing youth development, mentorship, educational attainment, social inclusion, civic participation, and positive youth engagement. This ensures that young people are empowered as active contributors to their communities and to development.
Minister, we have concluded 1 hour of your 4-hour debate, and we will be breaking for lunch in 1 more minute. So we're going to stop there and allow you to move us into lunch, to adjourn for the lunchtime. We'll be returning at 2.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to move that we adjourn for lunch with a return of 2 p.m.
Thank you, Minister. Any objection to that? No? See you at 2 p.m. The House is adjourned.